for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes, and let's go ahead and open up the Zoom room. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. As yes, we are a live broadcast, and if you'd like to be part of our live audience, you may do so by going to Zoom, ZOOM, dailywithdoc, that's DOC.com, and registering. And then it will give you a link or access, and you click on that button, and you will be allowed to join us here in the Zoom Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, and 3 to 4 Eastern. And I think it's 9 to 10 in South Africa at this moment. Might change tomorrow. But anyways, we just want to say hello and thank you, everybody, for joining us. Now, this program is a resource for an amazing community. So if somebody specific invited you to this program, they are your number one person who cared enough about you to share this program. So make sure that you get back with them, tell them thank you, what you liked best about the program, and also, if you have any questions in regards to any of the products or want coaching, they are your person. So get back with the person that shared this program with you. And thank you so much, Ann. It's great to be back. I appreciate that. So as we are getting started today, I am excited to have with us an individual who is one of my mentors. I don't know if I can say, yeah, I can. He is also my boss, as I am the Director of Student Services for the Institute of Holistic Health, and he is one of the co-founders of the Institute of Holistic Health. And, you know, I can't think of a better person to actually talk about today's subject, as we're going to be going over the importance of cofactors, ratios of nutrients, and the essential 90 essential nutrients. So he has a master's in nutrition. Well, I can do this. He has a master's of in nutrition. He also is a certified trainer, not only with John Maxwell, but also with Tony Robbins. He is one of the co-founders of the Institute of Holistic Health and also a leader in the longevity family of distributors. Please help me welcome to the screen my dear friend, Paul Kroto. Hello, Paul, and welcome to Daily with Doc. I am so thankful that you were able to squeeze us in. As you know, so many people say, oh, I already take supplements. And I ask, well, what are you taking? Well, I'm taking this for this, this for this. And they're just single nutrients. Well, Paul, I know that you have a passion for ratios, strategy, and the 90 essential nutrients. Plus, you have the education to go along with it and support it. So, welcome and thank you for being here with us on Daily with Doc and Becca.
Thank you, Becca. We're super excited to be here today. And yeah, this is a passion of mine for sure. Traveling with Doc for many, many years, Dr. Wallach, that is. And it was all about, we actually would never mention a nutrient really to people because he was so against fractionated nutrition. And if you told somebody a specific nutrient, I remember like for kidneys, for example, there's this nutrient you need to have healthy kidneys, which is called hawthornberry. But he would never say it to anybody. He'd probably kill me for mentioning those words if he heard this right now, because he would always mention the Ultimate Classic. That would be because you need everything to go with it in order for that to work properly. So you can't just take, I'm just going to go buy some hawthornberry from GNC or the Amazon or something. It's so much more complex than that, because that is the main thing. But in order for that main thing to work for that one problem, you need about 105 other things working with it. So this concept of nutrition, I can see why people, kind of tune it out at times, and it becomes overwhelming because, listen, I have a master's degree in this thing. It's overwhelming to me. It's so difficult to know all the ratios between, so the body, as you mentioned, needs 90 essential nutrients. So you have to know all the nutrients, how they work together, which ones are necessary for this one to work, and put them all in the right, not only for have enough of that nutrient for your body weight and your health problem, but enough so that it doesn't screw something else up, a ratio of something else up. So you could sit there for weeks. Thank God for AI. You can now type a lot of things into that and figure it out. But if you went to Amazon or some health food store and tried to put these 90 essential nutrients together for yourself, it would take basically like a rocket scientist to do that, because it is so complicating. And what I love about longevity and what Dr. Wallach has done is he's done all the research for us and has made this thing called the Healthy Body Start Pack, which he is taking every single 90 of the nutrients, put it in one pack, and not just put it in one pack, but knows the right number and the right ratio of each one. Yeah, Becca.
So I just want to add something as an herbalist, and for those that are into looking at herbs, where hawthorn berry does help promote circulation, please understand hawthorn berry, or the lack of it, is not what caused the problem. It's not going to fix the underlying cause. So I just want to make sure that there was some clarity on that, Paul, before you got too far away from it. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn it over to you.
It's a great point, because, people think herbs, or there's all these other nutrients out there that get a lot of publicity, maybe on social media, that, like you said, don't fix the root problem. So yes, you could take that and it helps, but you're still always going to have that problem. So yeah, I agree with you 1,000% on that. It's sometimes, again, it gets maybe boring or whatever to people to talk about nutrients all the time, because they want to talk about the latest and greatest thing that's out in the market. But you got to do the 90 first. It's why we call it the foundation of nutrition, because without the foundation, something will work, appear to work short term, but it will never, ever fix the root cause of why this happened in the first place.
And that is absolutely right. And Dr. Wallach has proven that, with nutrients, there's 90 essential nutrients, and there's approximately 10 different poor health conditions, which I actually heard the other day from a reliable source that calcium alone has 400 poor health symptoms associated with it. That's crazy. And
yeah, they're finding more and more every day.
Doctors,
I mean,
so many doctors are telling their patients to stop eating things with high calcium or calcium in them, when it's actually the pharmaceutical that's causing the issue. But I'll get off my soapbox and let you go ahead, Paul.
No, my mother, she was walking one day, this was 20 years ago, and cracked her foot. She had to go to the hospital, and she's like, my foot really hurts. They took an x-ray. She had a break right down the middle of her foot. And then so I knew she was calcium deficient. And they later on, she got kidney stones, and they told her, well, you have to stop taking calcium. And I'm like, well, I don't think you're taking any calcium. So what happens is the osteoporosis gets so bad in the body that it starts breaking down your bones, and then your bones turn into you use the calcium from your bones to support the rest of the body. And it looks like that you're taking too much calcium, but you're not. You're actually not enough calcium. So yeah, it's finding out this root cause is really the key, Becca, to achieving optimal health and fixing all these different health problems people have. But you got to find out which nutrient is missing first. And it's often that you're not having enough of it, as opposed to too much. It's very rarely too much. And there's some examples today that I'm going to go over that burn a hole in my stomach when people talk about it, because they just do not know what they're talking about. So I'm excited about this podcast and educating people on some key things with nutrition.
All right.
But I want to go back to this. Yeah,
go for it.
Okay, cool. Well, I want to go back to this concept of essential, because I don't know who's listening to this right now, who's hearing my voice, but essential means your body does not make it. So you have to get it in your diet. And I see even a lot of fitness people out there, they get kind of like, oh, you don't need vitamins. Like, Doc teaches us that exercise without supplementation is suicide. And I just think anything, daily life is so stressful now for so many people that we're burning through nutrients like crazy. And there's just absolutely no way that you could have all essential 90 nutrients in your diet every day in the right ratios from just eating food. It's just not going to happen. And this is, this coming from someone who's got tons of experience and have tried every combination. Like, you'd have to go out of your backyard. You have to grow all your fruits and vegetables yourself in the right kind of soil that was mineral, rich, and know all the different fruits and vegetables, which each one carried, as far as how many nutrients in each one, and then know the ratios between them all. There's just no way. There's no way you could do it. So we got to get to a place where we all agree that you got to take the 90 essential nutrients somehow, some way. And if you were to go to a Amazon or some kind of other health food store and try to buy all these 90 individually, it would be so difficult to figure out how much you need of each one and what ratio it is to each other. Now, what the Healthy Body Pack does is it has all 90 in it in the right ratios. All you have to adjust for is weight. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you take one serving of each. If you weigh 150, you take 1.5 servings of each. You weigh 200 pounds, you take 2 servings of each. It's super simple. It's just how much you need. Then it's not, you never have to worry about keeping all the other nutrients in order. When you do have to worry about that is when you start adding additional products onto the 90. The great thing about longevity, and listen, the Institute of Holistic Health can use any company's products out there. And I spend an enormous amount of time researching everything out there. And I can honestly tell you that, and it's because I spend so much time with the owners and the people producing the actual products like Dr. Wallach, that how much time and energy goes into making each product, so that, let's say, one of the big add-ons that I have almost all of my clients take on top of the 90 essential nutrients is some extra selenium. Now, extra selenium, well, selenium, first of all, is in the 90. So you're already getting a dose in there. But I believe, and most smart nutritionists believe, you should be taking some extra selenium because of all the different health benefits there is to it. So you're like, well, wait a second. Isn't that going to throw the ratio off with the other things in there? Well, Doc was so smart that he made all of our products. So when you do buy an add-on product, it already contains the other nutrients and the cofactors that it needs to work. So if you look at our selenium bottle, it doesn't say just selenium in it. It's got 34 other things inside of it that make the selenium work. So, and it goes for any one of our products. You know, we just don't sell, you know, you might say D on the label, but it's got the K, it's got everything else in it that you need in order for that vitamin D to work. So it's you got to be very, very careful when it comes to taking nutrients and making sure they're in the right ratios, because you can actually cancel some things out by taking too much of this and too little of that. And you know, sometimes nutrition gets or supplements get a bad rap because either A, you're buying a supplement that doesn't actually get absorbed into your body, so it does nothing, or you just bought this supplement because you heard on some social media influencer that this was the right nutrient to take to fix this problem, and you didn't take the other stuff with it, and the other stuff's still super low, and it's one thing super high, and then you threw your body into a whole funk because you got one nutrient that's super high, and then you don't have anything else that's working with it. So you can cause all kinds of problems inside your body by not keeping these ratios. The ratios are the most important thing there are. And then comes the amount you take. So fix the ratios first, then how much you're taking of it, and make sure that you always keep that ratio the same. You don't screw with the ratio. You keep the ratio the same, but you can add more milligrams of each one, if you will, or whatever that nutrient is measured in. You know, so instead of asking, you know, what does magnesium do? What does vitamin D do? What does calcium do? You know, those are the kind of questions I get all the time. We have to look at our body as a whole. And that's why we call this the Institute of Holistic Health. And we spell holistic the correct way. We put a W in it because we're looking at the whole person, how everything works together. And what all other nutritionists do out there that don't know what they're talking about is they practice fractionated nutrition, where they're just doing, oh, you need a little bit of this, you need a little bit of that, a little bit of that. And then they throw the whole thing off. All the ratios are off now. And the person's worse off now than they were before because all the ratios are off. So, you know, as you can see, it's a big passion of mine. And there's just some, I don't know how else to put it, but I don't know if it's ignorant. They don't know what they're talking about, which probably is the case, or they're just, I don't know, miseducated, whatever it is. But I'm here to tell you that the truth here on this. And I love Daily with Doc because all the speakers on here speak the truth and educate people the proper way on nutrition and what needs to be done. But Becca, I want to really jump into some things that are really burning a hole in my stomach when it comes to information out there that is so wrong.
Well, Paul, before you go there,
yeah,
I do have to let people know that this program is for educational purposes only. It's not meant to take the place of your primary care physician, nor is it meant to treat, diagnose, or cure disease. But I also want to remind each and every one of you that you are empowered individuals. Doctors and other modalities are taught mainly by the funding of an institute, so that their education is slanted towards the use of that.
It's a very polite way to put it, Becca. Thank you.
So doctors, you know, they go into this with a great heart. I don't think that they intentionally, or any other, you know, whether it's a practitioner, it's nurse, whatever, they all want to help people, but they don't know what they don't know. And then what they do know is what's taught by, in most cases, the pharmaceutical industry, because that's where the funding is coming from. So I just want to kind of soften it a little bit, Paul, as you're going into things that burn a hole in your stomach and mine as well, but not wanting to turn others off. because we all know what we know, and that's from our education. And I'm so thankful for Dr. Wallach, and not only teaching us, but having the research of decades of some of his own research, and being recognized for his research by other establishments for the validity of what we teach here on Daily with Doc. So now you can share what's burning a hole in your stomach.
All right. Thank you, Becca. And Becca's always so sweet and kind. She's a loving person, like very, kind. And I'm just more straightforward and honest about things here. So I don't sugarcoat. But here, so let's talk. I talk as it is. Yes. So I like Doc. I was trained by Doc, and that's how we shoot here. So let's talk about one of my favorite topics, which is sodium. Now, traveling with Doc for years and years and years, every single time we sat down, I would have breakfast, lunch, and dinner with him for weeks on end, traveling with him. It was always, put some more salt on that, Paul. Put some more salt on that, Paul. When all other doctors out there were saying, sodium is bad for you. Like, they would make sodium out to be like it was created by the devil himself. It's the worst thing you could possibly do is have sodium. And that's what a lot of mainstream doctors and nutritionists will tell you, that sodium is so bad for you. Well, lo and behold, everything that Doc Wallach says eventually comes out. And now there's the research behind it that shows that, if you're tired, if you're having all these other health problems, it's because you're not having enough sodium. So you need at least, I would say, and this is, you have to look at what your diet is, but I would supplement anywhere. So you need at least 5,000 milligrams of sodium a day. Now, if you might be getting 1,000 or 2,000 milligrams from your diet, depending on what you're eating, sometimes if you're eating someone like me who's eating real clean, I don't have any. So I needed it to come all from supplementation. So I've been, really talking with the formulators at Longevity, and have gotten a product out that I've been waiting for forever for. So I'm taking full credit for this new product. So we still have Rebound. The old Rebound is still there, and it is fantastic, especially now. We call it the dog days of summer here. It gets hot out. You're outside doing things, playing golf, playing tennis, or doing whatever you're doing. You run through nutrients really, really fast, especially electrolytes. So I love the Rebound product. I feel absolutely fantastic drinking that. I just do, you feel tired because the nutrient levels are going down. Whenever you start feeling tired or hungry, it's a signal to your brain that says you're mineral or vitamin deficient. So something's low. So taking Rebound has specific nutrients in it in the right ratios, excuse me, to replace what you're missing through sweat and heat. So one of those key nutrients, excuse me, is sodium. So we need extra sodium, but we also need potassium to go with it. So sodium and potassium work on a 1-to-1 ratio in your body. Excuse me, I'm missing water here. They're actually, so they work with each other. And if one's low, the other one won't work right. So a lot of people will say, well, eat less sodium. And telling people to eat less sodium is like somebody has low tire pressure in their right front tire. And you go to the auto mechanic and he's like, oh, I see your right tire is low. Let's lower your left tire too. So now they're even, right? Makes common sense. And that's where most doctors, most nutritionists do. They tell you to lower the sodium. And that's such bad advice. You should just raise the potassium so they can become equal, and then you'll be fine. But if you have high blood pressure, does high sodium cause high blood pressure? Yes, because the potassium is low. If you'd raise the potassium up to the same level that the sodium was at, you wouldn't have any of these health problems. You'd feel fantastic. You'd have tons of energy, and everything in your body would be working perfectly. But you don't have enough potassium, and that's, if you were to ask me which nutrient out of the 90 are people missing the most of, it'd be a tough one because there's so many. But definitely, no one's getting enough calcium. There's nowhere near it. Vitamin D, probably nowhere near that. But I have to put potassium at number one because you need 5,000 milligrams. Well, depending on what you're doing, but you could probably get away with 4,000 milligrams of potassium, but the average person I don't think is getting 1,000. there's very specific foods that contain potassium. And we'll see, like runners, they'll be eating a lot of bananas. Now you have to eat like 50 bananas in order to get enough potassium in a day. There's people like, oh, I'll get it from food. No, you won't. There's no way you can eat enough bananas to get the potassium you need per day and to make sure it's in the right ratio with sodium. So we came up with a brand new product that I was part of helping the company make that's called Rebound Recharge. And it's watermelon flavored. It tastes absolutely delicious. It's great tasting. But it contains a 1-to-1 ratio of sodium potassium, the exact ratio you need for your body and specifically the cells in your body to work properly. So sodium and potassium, again, are both essential minerals. Also, they're considered electrolytes. So they're in the 90 already. It's just we need more of them, a lot more of them. So neither nutrient is the enemy. The problem usually isn't sodium by itself. It's just too much sodium combined with too little potassium. So the sodium is partially concentrated or is primarily concentrated outside the cell. Okay, so like people go around and you just feel bloated. I feel bloated today. You hear that from a lot of people, right? So what is that? And they say, well, you need to cut back on your sodium. Well, no, you actually need to raise your potassium because higher potassium gets the water from outside the cell and it brings it into the cell. So if you're drinking water without enough potassium in your diet, that water will never get into your cell. So in order, and you could drink a lot of water and never really feel hydrated because there's not enough potassium. As a matter of fact, I'm in the thought pattern now after doing tons and tons of research behind this over the years that actually drinking plain water by itself is a super bad idea because water actually flushes nutrients out of your body. And what we want to do is make sure that if we're going to be hydrated, which is super, super important, every cell needs water in order to function properly. This concept of the sodium potassium pump that I'm going to go into in a minute here is so critically important, and I'll explain all the reasons why. But just know that outside the cell, if the water's trapped outside the cell, the sodium's too high. If the sodium is not getting in the cell, then your potassium's too low. So we want to up. Usually the thing that needs to be increased is the potassium level. But I know a lot of people who just became so afraid of sodium that they're watching all their labels, they're doing this, they're doing that, and they don't have enough now of sodium in their diet. I know that was me. And there was back so right now I'm on the belief that protein should be the focus as far as your diet goes, and we'll go into that more later too. But back in the maybe 4 or 5 years ago, we were big on keto. Whenever you're having low carbohydrate diet, doesn't matter what you call it, this low carb diet, which you should be following, there's not much sodium in foods that are high protein, high fat. So the supplementation for sodium has always been, in my life, critical just to get that sodium level up because there's just not enough sodium in my diet from the type of foods I eat, which I primarily eat just chicken, steak, and eggs, and there's no sodium in any of those. So I have to get it all from supplements. So what do these two minerals do? They work together. They control fluid balance first and foremost. So fluid balance inside and outside the cell, blood volume, blood pressure. So anybody out there with blood pressure problems, guarantee you it's either a sodium potassium problem. Nerve impulses, muscle contraction. So we're going to talk about calcium, magnesium a little bit, but I could not make a fist or release it without the sodium potassium pump working correctly. Now, maybe the most important thing that the sodium potassium ratio does is it controls your heart rhythm. So too much sodium, and we'll go over this a little bit later too. The sodium allows the potassium allows it to relax. The sodium allows it to contract. So if you're missing one or the other, you got heart problems because one nutrient's too high and one nutrient's too low. Could be either way. Depends on what your diet and what your supplement program is. You just can't go out and, I'm potassium deficient and start taking a ton of potassium, because then you could quickly be taking too much potassium and not enough sodium, which makes your heart, it can actually make your heart relax so much you could die. That's how serious this is with potassium. So, listen, it's got to take an enormous amount of potassium for that to happen. What I'm saying is that you want a normal heart contraction, like it's supposed to work, which meaning you need that 1-to-1 ratio of the two. So I don't know anyone that's got, unless you're drinking, you're buying a huge canister of potassium and you're just drinking it all day and putting in things. Could you get that ratio so far out? But that's what I'm saying is that potassium allows the heart to relax, and sodium is responsible for the heart contracting. And also the movement of nutrients into the cells. So if you're taking the 90 essential nutrients and they're not getting in the cells, it's because the sodium potassium pump isn't working right, and sodium potassium are out of the right ratios. It's also responsible for moving the waste out of the out of the cells as well. So it does a lot. So let's talk about the sodium potassium pump. So every cell has a mechanism known as the sodium potassium pump. So every single cell in your body uses this pump. This pump actively removes sodium out of your cell and potassium into the cell. So each cycle generates 1 sodium ion out and 2 potassium ions in. That's the ratio of in and out. And this process requires the energy in the form of ATP. So how we actually produce energy is through the sodium potassium pump. So if you feel tired during the day, it's probably because you're missing one of those 2 nutrients. And that's why I love this new product, this Rebound. It's called Recharge, right, Becca?
Yes.
2 hours recharge. So I love this product because it has those, you take this, no, there's no caffeine in this, but you're instantly going to feel like you have more energy because this ATP is being produced at a faster rate because you have the 2 nutrients that you need to make that happen. So this electrical charge is necessary for nerves to send messages to your muscles and your heart to contract. So your brain, your heart, your skeletal muscles all depend on this electrical charge every second of every day. It doesn't matter if you're awake or asleep or what's going on. But this sodium potassium create the electrical current that allows your body to communicate and to move. So if parts of your body aren't communicating to the other parts, or if you're having tough time with movement, it's because you're lacking either sodium or potassium. It also controls nerve and brain function. So the nerves in the cells communicate through rapid movements of the sodium potassium across their membranes. So sodium moves the nerve cell to help initiate these electrical signals. So it's the partnership helps support things like your thought, again, your movement, your reflexes, your sensations in your body, your coordination, and also this communication that happens all the time between your brain and your body. Now, in your heart, as I was mentioning before, sodium helps initiate the electrical signal that tells muscles to contract. So when you have enough sodium in your body, it sends a signal telling your heart to contract. Now, the potassium helps the muscle relax. So again, it goes back to seeing those runners. Like if they start to cramp up, they start eating bananas. And again, you need a ton of bananas to remove this cramp, but they think that one banana is going to help them. But it's the heart's, one of the main muscles in your body. So it works the same way as any other muscle does. So potassium is especially important, again, for maintaining that normal heartbeat. So both low and high potassium can interfere with heart rhythm. And I promise you that most people who have a high resting heart rate, which is just about every client I have, and I've been doing this for 30 years and have been working with thousands of clients, I see a lot of people with their heart rate being a little bit too high, even their resting heart rate. You see athletes who do eat a lot of potassium, who pay attention to this sodium potassium pump, they have very low resting heart rates because their heart can relax because there's enough potassium present. If there's not enough potassium present, you can't get your heart rate down. So, this potassium supplementation should not be taken lightly. You have to do it. I guarantee in everyone hearing my voice right now, it is the one nutrient that you are the most deficient in and will make the biggest difference in your health, in your energy levels, and in the way you feel. So let's you have any other questions, Becca, about the sodium potassium, that ratio? Hopefully I explained it real well.
Yes. Yes.
It's about 3,500 milligrams of each you need per day. Some's going to come from your diet. Like you could get obviously some sodium from your diet. So, but the Rebound Recharge contains 500 milligrams of each. So I drink at least 3 packets a day of it, morning, afternoon, and night. So I'm getting 1,500 milligrams of the 3,500 I need from the Rebound Recharge. If you're not on auto ship for 3 bags of that a month, you're wrong. You just have to get an auto ship for at least 3 bags of that.
So one thing that a lot of people don't associate with potassium, and that's something that you have shared with us today, is that potassium helps to relax the muscles. And most people are taught that it's magnesium alone, not even mentioning potassium. So with this Rebound Recharge, you've got both the magnesium and the potassium and the sodium, all of them working together, plus more.
Yeah.
So
yeah, magnesium.
This my next topic is the calcium magnesium. It's not a calcium magnesium pump, but those two have got to be in the right ratio with each other in order. They also so magnesium helps things relax, calcium helps things contract. So they work kind of in the same way that sodium and potassium work, but just a little different.
Okay, well, let's go ahead, because I think as what was in the comment here, they were asking, what about magnesium and its ratio? And now you're going to be able to go right into that, answer that question, and yeah, move forward. So
yeah, this one is so go ahead, Becca.
Well, I was just going to say, for those of you who are here in the Zoom with us, one of the biggest benefits of being here in the Zoom is that you do have that chat. So make sure that you have that chat open as we do share information in there. Marilyn's doing a fantastic job of transcribing and providing the information about specifically the Rebound Recharge. So that is in the chat, including the ingredients and also the purpose of each of the main nutrients. So go ahead, Paul.
Awesome.
And
so now
wait. I'm told that there are some more questions here. So just wanted to confirm the quantity of sodium and potassium ratio is 5,000 milligrams, or is that micrograms per day?
It's 3,500 milligrams.
3,500 milligrams of each per day. And then, so one of our listeners, Keely, she's very much into the student athlete scenario, or should I say theater, that there's young athletes that are from the age of 10 to 18 that maybe didn't like the taste of watermelon, the Rebound watermelon, saying that it's a salty taste. Well, as a kid, I used to put salt on my watermelon to make it taste better. And I understand that a lot of people that are nutrient deficient, especially the minerals that are in quote unquote salt, are because they are deficient.
Yeah.
What is...
No, it's when I actually started taking a product which I was sharing with the company that had 1,000 milligrams of each. Now that tasted real salty to me, but there was the first 2, 3 times, 4 times I had it that I'm like, this is different, and it was something that I wasn't used to. It just, now I can't even tell there's salt in it. So it's weird. It's like, and I'm sure it's different for different people, but it took like 4 servings for me to absolutely not notice it's there anymore. Now I drink the watermelon. I don't even think there's sodium in there, because I'm like, I'm used to drinking 1,000 milligrams at a per drink, and I would have 3 of those a day. So it's just, I would say, it does, if you're used to putting a certain amount of salt on your food, it tastes a certain way, and Doc always says, well, double it. And it would taste weird to you because you're not used to that. So,
Right.
but, we could say that about any nutrient, and this is,
you need what you need. I'm not making up the 3,500 number. You know, you need it is what I'm saying. So you like it, you got to kind of, you know, get through the initial, and I promise you that once your body's like, oh yeah, this feels awesome, you won't even know it's there anymore.
Right. I absolutely agree. And then Harry has a question, and I'm going to kind of address this question. You can go ahead and give your opinion on it also. He's saying, is 500 grams of teaspoon a day of each, it's that sufficient? But you got to look at, not all salt is created the same. When you've got the table salt, which is pretty much just sodium, you have Himalayan salt, sea salt, all having different ratios.
No,
when it comes
salt
to
is
salt.
typical. Salt is got a 60-40 ratio of chloride to sodium. So you're only getting 40% sodium from salt.
Okay, so you can't really measure out a certain amount of grams to make sure that you're getting
With salt.
it.
Salt and sodium are not the same number, the same thing. There's at the, I don't know, I'm sure there's different types of salt that contain different ratios. The average salt, table salt, contains only 40% sodium, 60% chloride. So whatever you're taking, you're only getting 40% sodium.
And your body needs both, but there's other things that it needs as well.
Yeah, well, I'm just speaking on getting the 3,500 milligrams of sodium in a day. You just can't count, you know, I have this much salt. You're not getting 100% sodium from salt. Got it.
All right. And then Jill, she chimes in and says her 21-year-old son loves the Rebound Recharge. He was previously an electrofuel, or Rebound in the cans only. And this is a big win for him as he is an athlete. So he's excited to have the Rebound Recharge. So,
yeah, I mean, what was the first product he took? He was taking the electrolyte. Now it's got electrolytes in it, but it's also got caffeine. Electrofuel, yeah. So it's got electrolytes in it, but it's also got the caffeine in it. And I found myself and other people always like needing extra caffeine to get more energy, when it was really just a sodium potassium deficiency, and that my cells were not producing ATP fast enough because I was deficient in especially the potassium. Well, I wasn't getting anywhere near the sodium I needed either. So when I started taking this drink, and again, initially I was taking a competitor version that contained 1,000 milligrams of each, and I felt fantastic. So I can't, you need at least 3 of these a day in order to have a shot at feeling better. And I just love that it's in the right ratio. I looked at 15 different electrolyte products on the market, and they all contain a ton of sodium, no potassium, or very low potassium. I don't know why. This is public knowledge. I mean, anyone who knows anything about nutrition knows it's got to be how the potassium sodium pump works, and it's got to be in 1-to-1 ratio. And I don't know why no one makes a product that has a 1-to-1 ratio. And so YGY is the first company ever that I can find, unless you can find one for me, but I've dug deep, had AI search and everything. We could not find a product that had a 1-to-1 ratio of sodium to potassium like it needs to be.
Right. And I've looked as well, and no, I didn't find something that
you could manufacture yourself. You could buy and make up your own concoction and get it in, but not in one convenient packet like this. And that's what I really love about YGY. It's this convenient package. Don't take the thinking out of it. Just pour it in the water and drink it,
Yep. Absolutely.
So, yeah. Right. And I'm not going to get into this today, but I'm a big athlete. I love exercise and working out and all this stuff, and a big golfer too. What I do is I take, this is I know someone, Kaylee, I think it was Kaylee was mentioning the flavor of it. If you're not a huge watermelon fan, or it's very watermelon, I should say. I love our new creatine drink. I've been drinking creatine for 30 years. And then using it, and it does so much for your muscles, for your brain, I could do a whole hour on just creatine alone. We just came with a brand new creatine product. It's a great cherry flavor. So I do 1 packet of the Recharge with a scoop of the creatine 3 times a day. And that tastes amazing. Like, it's a great, so you can take the different products that Longevity has, kind of mix them together and create whatever flavor you want to it. But as far as the sodium goes, you just get used to drinking it. And I tell you, after 3, 4, 5 drinks, you won't even know the sodium's there.
All
Your
right.
body will
And like you mentioned earlier, one thing that Longevity does is they include those cofactors in each of their products so that you're not throwing your body off when you do the combining.
Yes, that happens so often. I work with clients that are, oh, I'm going to go out and buy I can tell you now, going out and buying a potassium supplement now. Like, wait a second, time out. And I didn't get into the cofactors part of the whole thing yet. I got 15 minutes left and I still got a lot to go. But if you're not taking the right things with the sodium and potassium for those 2 things to work, it's not going to work either. So again, we got to get away from this fractionated nutrition concept and see how things work together. And not only do these 2 things work together, but you need other things around it supporting it in order for it to work. So there's way more in there in the Rebound Recharge than just those 2 minerals and the magnesium. I mean, there's other cofactors in there that help the whole thing work.
Right. And Paul, just a note that don't feel like you have to get through all of it. This can be part 1 of a 2-part series.
Yeah, let's get through these ratios, and I can touch on cofactors real fast, but there's a whole other speech really. But let's talk about calcium, magnesium. Let's see what we do here in the next 15 minutes here. So calcium, magnesium. So our Osteo-fx product contains 1,200 milligrams of calcium and 300 milligrams of magnesium. So it's a 1 to 4 ratio, if you will. It's a great starting point for people, but this ratio is more independent to the person. It really depends on how much exercise they're doing, how active their lifestyle is. I find more times than not that people need a higher magnesium to calcium ratio. So more like a 1 to 2 ratio, where you're doing 1,200 milligrams of calcium and 600 milligrams of magnesium. That seems to work well. As a matter of fact, we have a product called Cal-Toddy that has that 1 to 2 ratio, and it works for so many of my clients so well. Great absorption on that product. It's a liquid product, tastes fantastic. So that's a product that I go to a lot. I personally use the Osteo-fx, the powder, but I have to add extra magnesium in, which I take at nighttime primarily because it helps my sleep so much. So I end up having a 2 to 1 ratio of calcium to magnesium in my body. But it's important to work with a certified holistic coach that understands how to start you off on a certain ratio, and then they know how to manipulate things and get it so that your body's working right. Some people need a ton of magnesium. I've had people go to a 1 to 1 ratio, calcium to magnesium, where they're doing 1,200 milligrams of calcium, 1,200 milligrams of magnesium, just because for whatever reason, that person's burning through the magnesium and can't relax. Again, when you think about relaxing the muscles, we got to think magnesium and potassium to contract the muscles in order to make this fist. Right now, I'm using calcium and sodium to do this. So if I don't have enough calcium and sodium, I can't do this. If I don't have enough potassium or magnesium, I can't do this. I can't relax. So it's just figuring out the right ratios, and that's what these certified holistic health coaches are best at. So calcium also works with the heart muscles, while magnesium, so the calcium helps the heart muscle contract, and the magnesium helps the heart muscle relax. So it does it for all the muscles in your body. So it's super, super important to have these 2. Now we also need magnesium, also helps activate vitamin D. So let's throw another player into the ball game here. Vitamin D, which also helps the body absorb and regulate calcium. So without significant magnesium, simply consuming more calcium does not guarantee that calcium will be used effectively or absorbed right, because you don't have enough magnesium with it. So both minerals help regulate normal heart function. Calcium supports the contraction, again, while magnesium helps support the relaxation and electrical stability in your body. So it's for the average person, I do think 100 milligrams of calcium per 100 pounds is the right number, but it's the magnesium per day that you kind of have to play with. And what I do is I have in the morning, I'll have the Osteo-fx, but at night, which has the 300 milligrams of magnesium. And then at night, I'll have another 400 milligrams of magnesium before I go to bed in the Osteo-mag, which is part of the Beyond Sleep system, to help me relax enough to get into a deep sleep. And let me tell you, I wear this Oura ring all the time and measure my sleep every night. And there's just sometimes, I might be in bed watching TV or something, and I just fall asleep because I'm exhausted. So I fall asleep, and I didn't take my magnesium before I went to bed. And I can tell you, my deep sleep numbers are half of what they are when I do take the magnesium. So in order for me to, I've done, tons and tons of research on myself when it comes to this. And if I don't get enough magnesium before I go to sleep, I only get about a half an hour of deep sleep. When I take the magnesium before sleep, the Osteo-mag, I get at least an hour and a half of deep sleep. And when I get an hour and a half of deep sleep, I wake up and I'm a rock star. I mean, I'm fully recovered, I'm energized, and I can make it through the whole day. But if you don't, it doesn't matter how long you sleep per se. What matters is the quality of sleep you get. So you need at least an hour of deep sleep and at least an hour and a half of REM sleep for your mind to be able to recover as well. So deep sleep kind of recovers the body, and the REM sleep helps recover the mind. So it's important to have magnesium before you go to bed to get those two numbers where they need to be, so your body can let go and relax. The biggest problem why 80 million adults have sleep apnea, or sleep problems, I should say, is because they're just not relaxing. They're just still going a mile a minute and can't let go. And that's what magnesium does. It just helps you let go. So I only got 10 minutes left. Just let me jump into the other ratio that really is key when it comes to the 90 essential nutrients. And that's the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. So out of the 90 essential nutrients, 2 of them are fatty acids, omega-6 and omega-3. This is where things get a little tricky, because what happens is there's a lot of omega-6 in the foods we eat, especially if you're eating healthy, okay? So if you're eating eggs and steak and fish and chicken, those actually do contain omega-6. So you want to keep these two, again, in the 1-to-1 ratio to each other, another 1-to-1 ratio thing from omega-6 to omega-3. So let's just talk about some of the things that omega-6 and omega-3 do. So if you don't have enough omega-3, so we know heart disease is the #1 killer out there. So what we want to do is we want to keep our blood flowing well and our blood thin. So it's a lot of doctors will tell you to take a baby aspirin every day, or these different drugs that are out there that are called blood thinners. Well, instead of doing that, omega-3 naturally does that, in a natural way. So you need omega-3 to keep the blood at the right thickness, if you will. But if you have too much omega-3 and not enough omega-6 and you get a cut, you could actually bleed to death, because omega-6 is responsible for blood clotting. So if you have a paper cut on your finger, on your hand or something, and you're bleeding, the omega-6 is actually what creates the blood clot to fix that. Now, obviously, blood clotting is a big problem in people. We hear now that strokes are up as high as ever in history. People having strokes. My father had a stroke last November, which ended up causing his death. So it's obviously blood clotting is a big issue. And, that's why Doc says stay away from these oils, no oils. Now, what does oil do? It contains a super high amount of omega-6. I think just a little small bags of potato chips contains like 3,500 or some crazy number of omega-6, because it's the seed oil in there that makes the potato chip that causes omega-6 number to go through the roof. Actually, I think the number is way higher. It's like a 35-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to 3. So if you're eating these oils or these foods that contain super high omega-6, and then you take a product that's got a 1-to-1 ratio in it like it's supposed to, won't work because you already have enough omega-6 in your diet. Adding more to it doesn't make sense. You just need to really rev up the amount of omega-3, which is why I'm like the biggest fan in the world of our omega product, which contains only omega-3. Now, I ask people when I interview them and find out what their diet's like and what they're doing and how seriously they are about cutting out the bad foods. If they are cutting out the bad foods, then what we want to do is really recommend the ultimate product to take is the EFA Plus from Longevity, because that has the exact ratios you need in your body of 6 and 3. It's just super important when we interview people to find out how many omega-6s they're actually getting in their diet. It's the one nutrient. So out of all the 90, I said before, the one you're most deficient in, odds are, that I'm putting my money on is potassium. The one that you're least deficient in, that I'm putting my money on, is omega-6. So to keep this ratio the same, you're probably going to have to really ramp up your omega-3 intake. I take 12 omega-3s a day from the Longevity Omega. I want to get at least 2,000 milligrams of DHA in my body. Now, DHA helps your brain work. So it's the main nutrient that your brain runs off of. So having 2,000 milligrams of DHA is like rocket fuel for your brain. Like if you're going to a room and you forget why you're there, DHA deficiency. We always say EFA deficiency, but I want to be very specific on which EFA it is and what ingredient it is. It's the DHA that's the key. Now, when you hear the letters EPA, what I want you to immediately think about is inflammation. So EPA reduces inflammation. Now, sometimes omega-6 gets a bad rap because it causes inflammation. So these two nutrients work in counter of each other. It doesn't actually cause inflammation. Well, I mean, it does, but again, but telling someone to just stop taking omega-6 is the wrong advice. Take more omega-3 so they're balanced. So as one's reducing, one's producing, you want to get this thing in the middle. Too much of one or the other produces the wrong result with all of these examples that I'm giving. So it's so important to look at what you're eating and what nutrients you're taking to figure out. And, it probably takes about 3 days of close examination by going through the foods you typically eat and the supplements you're taking to figure out what the ratio is you're consuming right now between 6 and 3. And again, the old explanation was that omega-6 simply causes inflammation, and it got a bad rap out there. But it's way too simplistic. It's like, again, saying that we should lower the other tire because one tire is low. No, let's not lower our omega-6. Omega-6 has tons of different things it does for our bodies. We just need to raise the omega-3 in our bodies to make sure that it gets back into the right ratio of each other. So, it's omega. The problem is usually not too much healthy fat. It's too little omega-3 and too much ultra processed foods. It's the ultra processed foods like the potato chips or those type of things, that the stuff in the middle of the supermarket that causes the big problem and contains all these bad fats, these bad ratios of omega-6. Salmon is great to have if you're looking for a food that can increase your omega-3, but you're never going to be able to eat enough salmon that's going to make a big difference in that ratio. So it's important to the supplement, supplement. That's what my main message is here.
And I absolutely agree. And where the salmon is raised, that plays into the whole how much omega-3 is in it as well. So if it's farm raised, you're not going to get the same amount as if it's wild caught on the Pacific side. So we do have one question before we head out, and it's how do you look at ALA essential versus DHA versus EPA? And folks, this is not the Environmental Protection Association. This is EPA regarding essential fatty acids. Omega-3. Look at plant-based omega-3 like fresh flax seeds to help manage the ratios?
No, I'm a big fan of fish oil. I think it's the best source of it. I mean, it's not bad. Was it flax seeds person was saying?
Yes.
But I'm a big fan of the fish oil working the best. That's what is in the omega product.
And that is, for folks, if you're looking it up, it's Prohoba Omega, which is primarily, like Paul said, the DHA and the EPA, 1,000 milligrams in each dose. So
yeah.
Yeah. So Paul, thank you so much. That's a lot of information. We absolutely have to have part 2 of this, as we just went over the ratios and then touched on some of the 90 essential nutrients. Didn't even get to the importance of having more knowledge in your toolbox like that is achieved by becoming a certified holistic health coach with the Institute of Holistic Health. So folks, we have done a program on that in the past. You can go ahead and check through our channels. And if you're out on YouTube or Rumble or X or Instagram or Facebook, I mean, make sure that you are, and YouTube, make sure that you're following our channel, Daily with Doc and Becca, or Critical Health News. I'm kind of like, I love Critical Health News, but little partial to Daily with Doc and Becca, folks. You are going to get some of the same information, but you're going to be getting more from Daily with Doc and Becca on our channel. So make sure that you're following us. Make sure that you share this program with somebody else, especially if they are taking a this for that type of fractionated nutrition and missing the boat when it comes to getting the whole 90 essential nutrients. So Paul, thank you again. We're definitely going to have to put you back on the calendar so that we can continue this conversation. And folks, if you'd like more information about becoming a certified holistic health coach, you can go to coach.dailywithdoc.com. coach.dailywithdoc.com. Any closing remarks, Paul?
Well, I want to help you out, Becca, and your listeners. So right now we're running a save 50% on the coach. We got it's like kind of the dog days of summer, and people are kind of doing their own thing right now. So we're doing a 50% off right now with the coaching program. It ends the end of August, so we got 1 month left in this discount. And you just, when you go there, use the link that Becca gave to you and enter the code SAVE50. So it's SAVE 50, no spaces, SAVE 50. And you will get 50% off your program. We have pay in full, and we have payment programs that you can get on, and makes it affordable for anyone. And if any of this information sounded interesting to you, that you want to learn more, because I only covered 3 different ratios, I could be here for the next 6 hours talking about all the different 90 essential nutrients and the ratios between all the different nutrients, but that would turn into kind of a week-long class here. So take the whole course, and you'll have all the information you need to help you, your family, and the rest of the world be super, super healthy.
And that save 50 is all capital letters, folks. So it's capital S, capital A, capital V, capital E, 50. So thank you so much for that, Paul. So, I mean, that's $250 to take a certification course that is not heard of, especially when it comes to nutrition. So we encourage each and every one of you, if you're not already a certified holistic health coach, whether it's for yourself, just to help yourself and your family, or to, grasp onto that purpose of helping others, make sure that you get in by August 30th. So thank you so much for that discount, Paul. Greatly appreciate that. And again, coach.dailywithdoc.com. So if I could get our co-hosts up on the screen with us, I am so thankful that I do not have to do this all by myself. And I am especially thankful that I have the individuals that you see here on this screen who have continued to provide daily with Doc and Becca in my absence. I greatly, greatly appreciate them. We have my executive production manager, Ruth Ellen, as she has stepped in for being the host at most of the time. Well, and we've got AJ too, who's popping in and out. He helped host as well, but he won't be on, the screen at the moment because he has his camera off, but he is here in spirit 100%. So thank you so much, AJ, as he is our digital marketing director or manager. I can't remember which one it is, but he is the reason why we are on all these different platforms, reaching more and more people, which is our purpose. We also have with us Marilyn, who, like I said earlier in the show, she is doing dictation, putting it in the chat, which is only available if you're here live with us on the Zoom. So again, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. Pacific time, 1 to 2 Mountain, 2 to 3 Central, 3 to 4 Eastern. Go to zoom.dailywithdoc.com. We have Sherry, who is also a certified, actually all these people are certified holistic health coaches. Sherry was certified in other programs before finding longevity and the certified holistic health coach course. And she proudly does state she is a certified holistic health coach. So thank you, Sherry, as she is part of our tech crew. We get on early so that we can make sure that everything is streaming the way it is supposed to. And she and next Mary are also part of the crew that's on early. So thank you, Mary, as she is bringing in another aspect and skill set to the team, and we're greatly, greatly appreciative of that. So thank you, Mary. And we have Albert joining us from South Africa as our gatekeeper, making sure that people get let in on a timely basis. And if they're on the do not let in list, he does not let you in. So folks, if you act up, yeah, you can just give up trying to get in. But I am so thankful to have this team with us and special speakers like Paul, who come and bring knowledge that empowers you as an individual to be able to take control of your own health and wellness and not be dependent on a chemical to keep you alive. So anything else? What have I missed? Anything? No? Fantastic. I haven't forgotten everything. I must be taking enough omega-3s. Thank you again, Paul.
The phone number?
Oh, I did miss something. Folks, if you are not working with somebody already and you would like to get in contact with a certified holistic health coach, I have an amazing team available. 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. That's for people who were not referred to this program by somebody specific. Now, if you were referred, get back to the person that referred you to this program, and they're going to be your first and number one point of contact in this journey called life. Well, the health part of it anyways. So this program is being brought to you by dailywithdoc.com and Better by the Minute Life. Thank you so much for taking the time to invest in yourself with knowledge that, again, you can use as an empowered individual. So everybody, have a wonderful day. We will see you tomorrow with Pharmacist Fridays and Pharmacist Ben Fuchs. Have a great day. Bye for now.
Bye.
is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor.